Welcome to the Top M&A Entrepreneurs. Today, my guest is Krystof Bartos. Krystof just recently completed an acquisition, 100% of it, for a digital marketing company. And he's done some minority investing, consulting for equity, in 3 other marketing companies. So, Krystof, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you again. Just to correct, the minority wasn't in the marketing; it was more on the finance side, financial company. So just to clarify, the marketing was the first
marketing. Me on that. Yeah,
marketing, but yeah, just so we don't mislead anything.
Yeah, let's ask about that. I want to find out where you started from. Now, where are you from?
Yeah, so I'm actually from Czech Republic, close to Prague. And then before COVID, I was like back and forth to US. Then I wasn't able to go back to US. And so we kind of started doing this over Zoom, which is kind of the interesting part about that marketing acquisition. It was completely over Zoom with a partner that I met actually like 2 months ago, something like that, on JFK at the airport. And everything was over Zoom, which I think that's just interesting.
That's an epitome or essence of what's going on in this world. We're international, doing business on Zoom. Yeah.
So I kind of, in terms of that, like the part of with the COVID, when I wasn't able to go to the US, when you want to buy business in the US, you are kind of like, how am I supposed to do it, right? That was the challenging part. But as right now we are on the other side, what COVID bring to deal making and being able to do it abroad, and actually for me right now, don't need to move to US full time. And be able to do it right now, right, and going back and forth as I need. That's kind of great. So, actually,
well, how did you?
And it's companies.
What was your call to adventure? To, you started with consulting for equity, minority investment. So, what did that look like, and how did that start? Why did you start that? A lot of people in digital marketing go, okay, I'll sell my service for X amount a month, and you get this results and move on to the next client. How did you decide to go, well, I'll take a percentage of your company in exchange for, we'll do this for you?
Yeah, that's great. So actually, in terms of these consulting for equity, I more provide like a financial side. So I'm on the financial side. My business partner is like 30 years plus in the marketing and sales. So we kind of like, use our stronger parts. So that was one company was in Czech actually. It was financial advisory company. So basically I'm still there, help them basically set up the portfolios for clients and stuff and help them navigate like the financial world. And that it's spin off in one other. And one company that it was construction company, but I work more like a CFO. The story to get to that point was basically after high school, I just started being in the business. But at some point I realized, to keep story short, that why I'm still trying to start businesses when I'm actually not good at it, right? I'm not the startup person. Usually I am sooner than the market realize it needs it, right? And don't survive the time when the market is really ready for something, right? So that was kind of my thing. And actually, I wanted to start building and buying assisted living facilities, the small ones in the US. And I kind of researched that. And then I arrived back to Czech from one trip. And I was like sitting on the couch and saying like, why I'm still trying to build something from scratch? When can I buy something, right? And then I started Google stuff, and basically to people teaching these kind of things show up. I subscribe, start to learning that, and it fits really well with my financial background. And from that on, it's 2019, I believe.
Yeah. Let me ask you about who did you go to? What coaches did you kind of lean toward?
Yeah. So first one was Harbour Club, Jeremy Harbour.
Kind
of like alpha matter, so to speak, and it opened my mind. And then I really quickly also went with Carl Allen.
Great guy. I had him on the show. Yeah,
leverage buyout. So big shout out to those guys. I wouldn't be here without them. So they help in their unique ways. in all of those deals, and it's just something that we will do for the foreseeable future, right?
Before we move on, let me ask you about your financial background. Now, are you a CPA, or did you get financial modeling expertise, or how did you get into the financing part?
So everything around me and my background is entrepreneur. So it was basically investing, learning it, then realizing when I started wanting to buy companies, I was like, what I don't know, right? And basically learn that part for structuring and more CFO stuff, and then kind of learn obviously some like courses and learning more than I need. But I have an MBA that I've done like over online, because just some people ask me like, why you don't have any education? So I was like, what's the cheapest way I can do it and fastest way? So I found some online course that was certified for the MBA, but that's I don't even present it because that's not my way. I'm more like smart. So
I'm a big proponent, and the part of business is the language of business is accounting. So understanding the business of, if you don't know the language, you're just going to get yourself in a lot of trouble. So, I mean, why did you focus on that area? Some people focus on marketing, obviously, and some people just focus on finance. Why did you key into that aspect?
Yeah, I think I have the same mindset as you have, that you just said. Like everything is at the end in the numbers, right? And then there's a story behind it. But I just like the magic of, and that's a great question, nobody asked me before, like the magic of, you see some bunch of numbers can create a story and then turn it into like actionable items that you can kind of use to make more money and make it successful, right? And so much people are missing it in terms of being in the business. So it even opens up a lot of opportunities. And I'm like kind of even like from like a personality profile, like I am extroverted in the core, but like I'm able to do a lot of introverted work when I need it. So I'm kind of balanced there. So it's even like a fit. And what happened right now, right, with the banks and stuff, I spent the weekend just looking at it and really deep dive into everything. And that's what I like, kind of deep dive into everything and not be on the surface. And that's something that I think it's needed for the financial side as well. But I started with the business, being in the sales as a financial advisor, then have done bunch of, but just the finance, I enjoy it, and then combine it with everything else. But that's a great question. Nobody asked me about, so I had to kind of came up with the answer on the go.
Well, that's good. I need
great. I didn't realize it.
I need to see that. Yeah. So what did you, when you looked at when you first got this first consulting for equity, like I'm going to get into your business, but instead of just getting paid for it, I'm going to can I have a piece of your company in exchange? What did that look like? And how did that start?
I just asked, right?
Yeah.
So it was just,
and basically, start, right? You got to ask.
Yeah, that's it, right? And just from now on, or from that point, I was like, every time I will do it, actually what I need to came up back with more was asking for the fees as well, right? Because then if you get just equity, and the equity is not in the company that is kind of making enough profit, so you have the good income, right, from that part, like combination.
Yeah, you still have to pay your bill. Yes.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, and it kind of started naturally because that guy didn't want to give me a bunch of equity, just a little bit, and he was like, then I can kind of pay you. So we kind of combined a little bit of equity with basically a piece of the revenue, actually, which was nice. And then it started. And then the second one company, the construction, that's actually how I came up with the idea to actually set up the fund. And it's like a terrible story, and long story, but set up the fund to buy more companies, because it was complete scam, basically. Somebody approached me and said like, hey, we have raised a bunch of money and we want to deploy it in the real estate, and I need financial officer basically to help navigate that, right? The money never existed, but at some point I was so worried that we lost the money of the investors that I not even asked about these investors. And it was just, I don't want to stick there. But basically at that time I just said, hey, I want that part of the business and some fees, and because it wasn't kind of real, right? it was like, obviously I can give it to you. But the nice part was then when basically I was like, okay, we have that money and that guy cannot take care of that money, even in the real estate. And at some part I was like, how we can actually use that money for buying more businesses, because at the start I was more like on the zero out of pocket kind of deals, right? But there's still a bunch of like good companies, especially from retiring business owners, that I think now I believe they should get paid, right? Especially if it brings so much value to you, which I can tell like one deal can take over the whole of your income, right? And everything. So it's so life-changing for everybody that I at some point I was like, what about we set up the fund? And we are in the process of doing that. It's not done, but
let me go back to that consulting for equity. Are you asking for equity?
Yeah,
because you're not really making any unless you ask for a percentage of the cash flow. You're not going to realize your gains unless there's some kind of exit. Did you ask for an exit too? Say, hey, at 5 years, I want to be able to sell my shares back. You can have the first right, or if there's an exit, like you sell to a bigger company or go public or something like that. How did you know
So actually with the first company, the financial one, I basically sold it like year after back to the original owner. I was like, hey, now but it was like, I don't even remember the reasons, but basically I was like, okay, buy me out. I didn't see a lot of upside, right? It was the first deal. So I was like, if you want to give me equity and then I can brag about I have done the deal, I'm fine with that. Right? So I was like, I wouldn't do that deal right now. I can tell you that.
You don't make any gains. You can't see it on paper, and it doesn't mean anything. It's not. There's no currency in it, right?
Yeah, but still, from 0 to 1 is a big step, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's the experience.
It's major, right? So I saw that, and right now, basically, I have that with that same partner. We have another kind of company that I'm still keeping. But from the first one, I'm getting like basically just fees.
Was there any dividends set up or anything?
No, it wasn't even a company that would make enough profits, right?
Okay.
So it was kind of like, so I would do it again. Disclaimer: now we are more focusing on basically buying businesses.
The whole 100% of business, right?
The whole 100%. Because one thing that I can tell when we are talking about consulting for equity, what I found and I don't like about that part is, and I'm a huge fan of Tony Robbins, and he says that every problem in the business is either business owner strategy or mindset, right? And when you think about it, if you buy a piece of the business, but the original owner is still there,
you're not going to solve anything.
The issues with the mindset and strategy is there, right? And you need to not fight necessary, but argue about a lot of stuff. Maybe I'm egocentric or whatever, but at some point I'm like, I don't want to fight. I want to do whatever I want and then pay the price if I made bad decision or reap the rewards.
That is the perfect fork in the road decision right there, because it doesn't make sense to do consulting for equity unless you're getting some kind of dividend or percentage of profits. Because like you said, you come in there and say, to grow this you got 20% of the business. To grow this business, we need to do this, this, and this. But the guy just sits there and goes, no, we're not going to do it. We're only going to do 50% of that.
Yeah,
you're stuck with some dead stock that you're going to sell back anyway, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's that part. So right now, I'm more like the idea of buying businesses and working on like
this is where
to be able to buy more, right? Like that just like my feedback, like experience from that. But one more thing about that, we can stick there, but if you want to move, that's fine. But one thing that I want to say is we would do it right now. We actually propose a deal like that to another marketing company that basically they wanted to, or the original owner, she wants to be more on the sell side, right? And we have a great CEO in our company that we bought. Right, we have the financial stuff, we have a great CFO. So we were like, okay, we can provide all those resources that you are missing right now and focus on the sales, and then you will have bigger boat and kind of like you can sell more things. It didn't work out, but the point is, like at the start, I was like, let's ask for 20%, right? And then my partner was like, think about it. And he was like, we need to ask for 50 at least, because basically I would provide myself, my business partner, our CEO that is making 100,000 plus, right? For a company that is making like 100,000 profit for 20%, for 20,000, like digress the focus on all of us for somebody else. Like there's like, we will be the cheapest person that they can hire, right? So don't do it. It makes no sense, especially if you have other things that you can focus on. I would do it for the first deal, for example, and just going from the 0 to 1 is a huge thing.
Yeah, it's an experience.
But then be careful and really make sure that it's worth it at the start. So I would really look at, okay, if I'm getting 20%, if it's business that is making 100,000, then I'm fine for 20,000.
Yeah, I want to make one more point of that. There was a show with Marcus Lemonis where, even though he'd buy a minority part of the company that showed the profit, he would always make a point of and having it on camera saying, look, I'm only buying 20% of the company, but I am 100% in charge.
Yeah.
And make sure that he's looking in the other person's eyes, and they said, yes, you are. Right. Yeah.
Oh, so even adding this layer, so then from now on they understand what's the structure of decision making.
Yeah, that was a great show. I wish that was still, I don't know if it's still on or not. So let's go back to the, tell me about this partner you set up. Is your partner from Czech too, or is he from the United States? Or
no, he's in the US. He's in Cincinnati. That kind of even help us doing this deal because it was SBA finance. So obviously I cannot use that.
Yeah.
So that's great. And we just kind of, the partnership is excellent. And it was basically in the Harbour Club that was the start of my journey. They have something that the more experienced member kind of help for a couple of weeks with the new guys. And I ran that mastermind for a while. And we met there. And he's starting to have basically a couple of deals. And he always asks me about, how would you structure it? Can you help me out? Right. And that time I was stuck in Czech, not being able to travel to US. And at some point I was like, hey, I'm trying to do this. You are trying to do basically the same thing. I have this, you have that. Why about we start to doing it together? And basically like a year and a half ago, we decided we will do it together. And we I think we made offers on 3 or maybe 4 deals. And this was the one.
Let me ask you about your split. Was it 50-50?
In terms of I cannot own that much. So I own more or less, but that's like because of the SBA restrictions of guarantors.
Right. I mean, you're not a U.S. citizen. That kind of makes it difficult to get an SBA loan, right? Yeah.
So I kind of need to be.
What was he doing? Was he in the? I know you bought a marketing company. I saw your press release. Was he in the marketing business, or was he doing something else?
Yeah. He has done. He have been in the marketing. He says from day 2 because his dad was a commercial photographer, actually. So he's saying like, I've been in the marketing, so to speak, from my second day of being alive. So, and then he had done bunch. So he brought that part, but yeah, he's great and kind of, I don't know. Let me ask you that. But from me being on the financial side, sometimes with having those conversations, sometimes I'm that person that kind of poke into the holes of why this number is that and why the number is that, right? And I think having somebody on the team that is kind of just a relationship and just talking, it kind of helped to offset that tough part of discussing those details, right? So just that way that I can be kind of like a bad cop, so to speak, at some point.
No,
you can be the good guy. So it just fits great. And as I said, we have done 2 offers on 2 other marketing companies already. and hopefully we'll buy one or two next year.
Yeah, no, I know what you're getting. I mean, the financial guys look at this and go, they say no a lot more than they're going to say yes. And even a yes is sort of like, yeah, maybe it's worth looking into it next level. But a marketing sales guy would go, that's okay. That number's okay. And you go, why is it okay? Is it because I've been in this industry for 20 years and I can go reach out to 20 people and sign them up for this, and it mitigates the risk?
Yeah.
It's like somebody buying a software company where two of the clients are, 100% of the revenue. That's a risk to a financial buyer. But a strategic buyer would just go, well, we already have 100 clients, and it's just going to be 2% of our revenue now. Yeah. So it makes sense.
Yeah. And it changes from right now when we are looking on the bolt-on acquisition. As you say right now, the view is changing a little bit, right? Because basically you can look at just a couple of resources that you really need. It doesn't have to necessarily be profits that you are looking to buy, right? But for the first company, especially in the sector that you don't want to manage that company and be just an owner investor, not operator, like you need a first company to be, and we will be looking at it from every single sector. The first company be solid, profitable, ideally with a good person that can run the company, and multiple companies moving forward. So it's kind of changing where you are in the journey.
Right, you got to buy the good bones first. I like pointing out Neil Patel because he's got his digital marketing company. It's doing $100 million, and then he went off and bought Uber Suggest, and then Answer the Public, which just drives traffic right to his site.
Yeah, actually, we are looking to buy some media potentially to basically get the exposure, right? And it will be for the profit. It will just be about buying the right audience that we want to target, right? Business owners and stuff. So it definitely, it's different. And but I just want to, so it doesn't sound bad, but like my partner will not tell that, like he's on our side. It's just more like sometimes I can be a little bit hard in terms of the discussing the numbers, and him being more on the soft side and kind of negate that bad part. It's a great partnership because then there's still the report and everything, right? So when you ask about what's good about that partnership, even those things that are basically soft, right? They are not like hard skills, and he has a bunch of hard skills, don't take me wrong, but even those smaller nuances helps a lot in terms of a personality and being able to speak with different people. For example, in terms of we are looking to buy some manufacturing companies as well, and for example, I know we need somebody that is actually engineer, because those guys just speak different language so to speak, right? So that's kind of important to think about when you want to do it or want to do it on the next level. Think about how to combine those things that it kind of help you out to offset the weaknesses. And it's the same with any other business, right? But
let me ask you about the deal, Jeremy Harbour. I know Jeremy Harbour spends a lot of money on looking for distressed companies and teaching people how to buy distressed companies. Was this company that you purchased distressed, or was it just a good, profitable, ongoing operation?
No, it was excellent. Actually, the last year was the great year of the company as well. The company was set up when I was 7 years old, which is kind of great.
Yeah.
I cannot start that business at that point. Even my son has some businesses than me, but it will be tough. So it's for a long time, a little bit over $1 million of revenue, 25 to 30% profit margins, so great cash flow. 90% is recurring revenue from basically marketing services, right? So really great. And there was Charles, if he's listening, hi and thanks. At some point, he's great, and he basically helped to run the company for the last 10 years, and he stays with us as a CEO. And he will be able to help us to even take over the management of other companies, marketing companies, when we add that. So it was just perfect deal that
So
set us on
why
the
did
journey
he
to buy
sell?
more.
I mean, if he's still in that spot, it's always like, okay, I'll stay on and help you do this, but I just don't want to own it anymore. Why? What was the motivation for selling?
Yeah, so it was like husband and wife combo, and they look for retirement, right? So they are getting close to that age. But actually, with David, with the owner, the husband part, he's staying with us on the business development side. So, and hopefully he will not be angry at me, but I think that's interesting from the mindset of business sellers, and that's what you ask. Like when we bought the business on one more client, he basically just bring the client in and do some copywriting work, right? And on the lunch, he mentioned like, that was great. I just bring the client in and just do the copywriting. That's why I started the agency in the first place, not necessarily doing the management side, right? So, and I think Jeremy said something, or Carl, I don't know, something about they bought the business that was basically a car repair shop, and the guy was selling the company, and he was like, I will sell it to you only if I can keep repairing the cars as long as I want, right? But I don't want to deal with with employees, with the clients, nothing. I just want to repair the cars. That's why I started, and now I need to do taxes and accounting, and I don't want to understand it, right? And clients and employees and changing of interest rate or whatever, right? So I believe that's a huge like a mindset thing of
right, because the alternative is they go home and die because he didn't have anything to do.
Yeah, exactly, right. So he's staying with us. We had some transition period with both of them, but basically he was the main business development person. So as we are the CEO is taking over the operation. We onboard fractional CFO to help me out in terms of the finances and adding extra layers to that, because I have like a high level of finance, like looking at the deals, looking at the stock of the companies on the market, and understanding what to do to make it better. But I'm not accountant, I'm not tax guy, right? So we need that support on that end. David, the original owner, can just do business development.
Hey, I have to ask you about how you knew that your partner, you could trust your partner, because that's ultimately, it's easy to say, hey, you join this group on Facebook and there's 5,000 other people in this business buying. You say, let's partner up, and you partner up, and you don't really know a lot about the other person. You may not have met in person, and you've never been through rough seas to know if you can trust them. How do you know that?
Yeah, that's great. So couple of thoughts. First thought is, I think a great thing about doing these deals, right? We are not we didn't come up with the Apple in our garage and need to safeguard that nobody steals the idea, right? So I think there's a different mindset that people need to have when they want to do those deals. Even business owners, when they want to buy other companies to grow, right? The mindset needs to shift a bit about protecting everything and be scared about something can go wrong. And you can make more risks, right? So to speak, right? So that was one part that I would just say from the mindset standpoint. The second thing is, if you joint venture with somebody doing deals and you make offers on 3 deals and you negotiate, and then one offer is accepted, and then you go through financing and there's a lot of headaches and issues, I would say you can know that person better than most of your family, so to speak, because it's raw. It's raw. It's real.
Yeah.
It's raw. It's real. I think somebody is saying it, right? Like you can meet over coffees with somebody for 10 years, or you can go skydiving for 5 minutes with somebody, and the relationship with that person that you just have 5 minutes of something super special will be stronger. The bond will be stronger than with somebody that you are just meeting for a coffee once a month, right? And I believe it's true, right? And obviously then there's some legal that you can do, right? that kind of protects that part a little bit in terms of like what happens if, right? And
what about, let me ask you about the process. So how much to get an SBA loan to purchase this? You made an offer at this marketing company. You know, it's got to be a reasonable offer because they're just not going to underwrite it or finance it unless it's right in their numbers, right?
Yep.
So you make an offer on this, and how much does your partner own of that to get the SBA loan? And because my partner's from Czech, and he, what does that look like?
Yeah, so in terms of like in terms of the combination of international and US, or more
like SBA goes, well, SBA looks into you. It's a financial proctology. I mean, they look into you and go, okay, your other partner's from the Czech. How do we check him? How do we do a background check on Krystof?
Yeah, that's right. So there's, I would not necessarily want to discuss specifically how we have but I will tell you. Right? Yeah, that's fine. So basically, and that might be valuable for your audience if somebody is like me and wants to do it. So basically, the U.S. citizen needs to own at least 51% of the deal every single time, right? Or multiple U.S. citizens, right? And then anybody that owns more than 19% of the company needs to guarantee the loan, even if you are not U.S. citizen, right? And then your decision is, one, do I want to guarantee the loan so I can have 49% maximum, right? And go with that struggle, which is basically the international rabbit hole of all those credit checking and stuff and looking at the assets and balance sheet, or you can kind of stay under that 90% radar, and then it's easy and it's more basically one person is buying it, and then I guess you can make some agreements how to change it once the SBA loan is gone, potentially. I don't know, right? But that's kind of what are the options for people that even want to do it and are not in the US. We kind of even have some talks with some guys that want to kind of do it in the US.
I mean, look, we're right next to Canada. Right? A lot of people sign up for courses in Canada. So it's not like we have to, it's not like thinking it's got to be in China or Europe. The EU could be just right over in Canada.
Yeah. And just maybe just a word of caution. One hiccup that we had in terms of the getting the loan was that at first bank told us that because I'm not U.S. citizen, not having green card, I can own more than 19% and still not guarantee the loan. And we set up the holding structure and stuff, right? And then basically then we later learn it's not the case. So just from the experience, if some bankers or sales guy for the banker told you that you can probably own more than 90% and not guarantee the loan and not do the background check and stuff, from my experience, it's not the case. Which delayed the deal about.
Well, I will say this: like sometimes you talk to these banks, and there's this couple layers. Like the first guy is the salesperson, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, we'll do the loan," and "Oh yeah, you can set it up like this." But when it gets to underwriting and they start doing the due diligence background check, it's like, no, that's a no. Or the underwriters go, no, we don't like that industry. We don't like the numbers. We don't like the cash flow ratios, working capital, whatever it is.
Yeah. And actually, like just getting that loan was kind of the headache, and there was a lot of hiccups. But at the end, we thought it was like a super long. And now my business partner, Mark, he started coming to some like M&A networking events in his area and telling them that we completed the deal in 6 months from the first discussion to closing, and SBA loan took like 4 months. 5 months. So it was 5 months actually with the negotiation. So it was a little bit longer. And everybody says like, how did you have done it that fast? So actually it wasn't that bad at all. It seems like we kind of set up some good record about how fast to do the SBA loan, but we actually thought it was terrible and it took a while. We have to postpone the the date of closing multiple times. And
why did you have to postpone the date of closing?
Yeah, just because underwriting wasn't ready, and then it was another this hiccup that I mentioned, right, with the structure of that, and then just this bank didn't particularly very great in terms of.
Who was the bank that you got your SBA loan from?
Yeah, I don't know whether I should say it right now after I said everything right.
No. I mean, everybody's going to have their own experience with it, and there's Live Oak Bank. Yeah. There's all kinds of people out there.
Yeah, it was Bay First Bank, but at the end, like, they solved everything, and next deal we will finance with them probably again, right? So I think back again, and when something was bad, they kind of figured that out, right? But and at some point, at the end, it seems like we still finish it in good time frame, right? So, but I know people like Live Oak, for example, better.
Yeah.
That's just what I heard, that they are more.
So was the seller happy? I mean, it took 6 months, but is the seller happy now?
You need to ask him, not me. But
he stayed in the job, right? No, I mean, as far as you know, you take his temperature and go, look, man, you got to be transparent.
Yeah. I would say when original owner introduced you to their employees and say that after everything, good and bad, obviously there's a bunch of tough discussions, and it's just not like everybody will want to be different. And he says, like, they're part of my family basically right now. I think that's just a good reference, I would say. But obviously, then you take over the business. You do a lot of changing of the bank ownership. It's not easy. That's terrible as well, right? So then after closing, you still do a lot of stuff, and still a little bit of negotiating about how it will be done, the transition and stuff. But we are good spot right now, and it's about to get easier. So I think we are, from my end, I think we are great, and he's happy, and we are happy. Employees are happy because they can grow to the next level with us. It feels like everybody is happy. That's my belief, but you need to ask them more than me, right?
Yeah.
That's just
did you make any changes, operations, personnel, anything, first 100 days, 6 months, or any number like that?
Yeah. So most of the changes are on the financial side. So basically, a couple of points. The actionable finance, so to speak, right? So we have like 75-80% is just recurring monthly revenue, right? And most of the clients for now, they paid by checks, right? So we kind of setting up right now.
They write a check and mail it?
Yeah, exactly, right? For the recurring revenue, so that doesn't make that much sense. So we are changing that. We'll offer them some auto pay options so they can pay it easier, faster. So we kind of optimize even the accounts receivables and cash flow. And there are some clients that pay a little bit late, but I wouldn't blame them. I would blame the checks, right? So we want to make it easier for them to pay us, right? Which is like a good practice. Do it. If you can do it in your business, do it. My recommendation, every time, make it easy for guys to pay you, right? And that's the biggest change. So we are kind of starting to setting up, in the process of setting up some automation tools that kind of help you to streamline accounts receivables and accounts payables and these type of things. That's the most of the change. Obviously, one change was from somebody that was running the business a lot before, but get that guy to CEO role. That was change. It was a hard change. But it was a change. But he's just crushing it right now, doing great, amazing job. So really happy about that.
Because he has more of his time to spend on copywriting and managing. Yeah.
No, I mean the CEO, which was basically the second employee, strongest employee, or the strongest employee in the company, so to speak, and he was already running a lot of the business, right? And we basically promote him to the CEO and president, so he steps in and he's the top guy. We are not running the business day to day.
Yeah. Did you offer him any equity shares?
Yeah, so we have basically some bonuses linked to that, and also we invite him basically as a part of our buying group for the when we buy another marketing companies, right? And he will take over the operation of them. He will be part of our buying group, which he's super excited about it, because that's basically offering the life-changing thing of buying businesses to somebody that wasn't thinking about it, right? By basically and he can still focus on the strength, and we take over the negotiating the deals and financing and finance and finding those deals. And he's doing what he loves, which is managing those businesses, right? So we offer that, and he has some options how to get a piece of that business that we bought.
Yeah. Let me ask you what his opinion is on. So you do a lot of copywriting. What is the thought on Chat GPT or Jasper and AI about this copywriting, trend of, really makes it 10 times faster. I mean, I use Jasper.ai to help me write the descriptions, the headlines, my new emails. I still have to massage it a lot, but it writes the structure for me a lot faster than our keyword strong.
Yeah, that's right. So we do copywriting, obviously, as a part of doing websites and then the ongoing marketing. And I believe right now we have Jasper, then also like a ChatGPT, and there's other people that can do the copywriting. And I believe I'm not that in those weeds that much, but I know we are using it as just to help us the same way as you are using it to help you. We are doing that. And actually, I know today Google announced more AI for Google Workplace, and it will help you to write emails. And it's just like today, and I think Microsoft will announce something this week as well. So it can start help you to create presentation. And what was interesting is if you receive like a huge thread of emails, maybe if you are financing some deals, right, and you just get a huge thread of back and forth, you can ask, like, summarize that thread for me, and it will summarize the whole email and give you just basically catch you up. And then also you can just reply and create the presentation. So I'm just excited about it. I use ChatGPT to try to do some LinkedIn posts for last like 2 weeks or so. So it's great. I just like that. And in terms of the marketing agencies, I think it's a lot of marketing agencies right now basically have copywriters and then, for example, Jasper, and they A/B test the results. And my belief right now is that often the AI wins because it can take over
it's 10 times faster. I mean, it's let me ask you
even from
about
conversion and stuff, right? Even from the conversion stuff, I think because it can kind of take in the conversion rates and some metrics other than a person can, right? It can kind of optimize for better click rates.
Well, yeah, there's no emotional damage to you. It's like, I'm going to write this thing and throw it out there in front of a million people and see what the conversion ratio is. Like, oh, God darn it, I thought that was going to work. It didn't work. You just got to keep testing. And then if you just, like Jasper AI, you can ask for 100 results. And you just take the copy and just test it. There's no emotional decision into it. It's metrics and math. Yeah.
We're really like we are using it in the marketing company, but I haven't tried. So you can say like write until you have 100 leads for me, and it will change the language.
It'll give you options like a headline. I want a headline, and I'll ask for like the best headline, responding headline, and you say I want 10 results. And then it'll just give you 10 different headlines about the subject you put in.
Okay. I thought you can ask for amount of leads, and it will A/B test until it gives you what you need, which would be cool.
No,
I know that I can do a bunch of things.
My guess is I bet ChatGPT could do that because it's pretty smart at some point, right?
So basically, that's how I test ChatGPT was I say like, give me 10 topics about growing business cash flow, profit, and revenue, and it gave me 10 topics, and then I just copy and paste and say, write me LinkedIn post on this and this and this and this and that, and I have like 15 posts on LinkedIn in 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's awesome, isn't it? I need to ask you about we have a mutual friend, Andrew Longcore, that did did he do the legal work for you guys on this?
Yeah, we have done the legal, and multiple times he saved the deal in terms of the banks and the financing and stuff, and help navigate through the closing. So he's just amazing.
Yeah, he's bought some courses from me, so I like him in my network.
Oh, nice! I didn't know that.
So let me ask you about the mentor, because I looked on your LinkedIn page and you talk about Tony Robbins a lot. Now, what do you think? Could you summarize what he's done for you, his education? I also know that you work on the foundation for him too, right?
Yeah, so I basically support his events, and one was for his foundation, which is basically his version of his seminars for teens, right? And I was basically captain there, so it was virtual, so managing the Zoom. So that was my help for the foundation, and then I am senior leader for his events, which is basically after some training. You can basically support these events. So I can go to any event that Tony has for business, personal, whatever, and basically support the people that are attending. And to be able to get there, you basically do everything that he offers, which wasn't the reason. I just wanted to. Yeah. And I think from my end, I started with him when I wasn't in a good spot, so to speak. And he helped me a lot in terms of buying businesses and deal making. He is doing 7 billion revenue right now, and has 150 companies.
He's acquired minority shares or full shares of 100 businesses. Yes.
Yeah, right. So he knows how to do business. So just him talking about how to do business, and he has this unique, from the mindset and so to psychology and stuff. It adds a lot of layers to deal making and just owning the business. And I met, for example, Keith Cunningham there, which is one of my
Keith Cunningham has got some great books. Yeah. I love Keith Cunningham's The Ultimate Blueprint book.
Yeah, he's great. All of his books, and I think Keith Cunningham has a couple of his courses right now, but then he speaks at Tony Robbins Business Mastery events, like a guest speaker. About the finances and stuff. So part of the financial background, I definitely own to Business Mastery and Keith Cunningham, and just making finances simple. There's a bunch of simple books if people want to kind of get grasp on it. One is behind me, Accounts Mystified, is a great book for finance. And so I kind of combine, that's how I kind of work. I want to do something, I realize what I don't know, and then basically I look for people that has done it, not necessarily universities or anything, find the courses and anything, and you can learn what you actually need and apply it, right? So I have done it in the finance that I needed, Tony in terms of the mindset and these kind of thing and stuff, right? Actually, when we are talking about Tony Robbins, one of the story that I don't know about whether you know it, but he has done consulting for equity. He even knew about it. That's the thing that way. But before .com bubble, and he basically, I believe, with his a mindset and a psychology strategy, he helped to navigate some billion-dollar mergers, right? And he get piece of the business because he was able to talk with these guys, right, and use his NLP and other stuff. Right, and he get the piece of the business. Then it went public, and he made 400 million overnight based on that. And when he thought about this story, I was like, I need to learn his strategy, how to do these things as well. Because if you can just talk with people better and do those kind of deals, that's great. I know that then .com bubble hits and all the 400 million was gone next day. So, but it's still fun, right? But there's a couple of things that you can learn from it, and I like to support it. One, because obviously I can go back at any time, and it's kind of good balance in terms of just being in the business and doing all kinds of business. You need to have a good mindset for yourself, be healthy, have a good relationship, and make sure that it's not just about business and money and all the
giving back
areas are covered. Right, all the areas are covered. I work with one of his coaches on a weekly basis as well, so he's a big part of, let's call it, the success that we bought the business and the changes that we are making, and part of that. So good. I would say Jeremy, Carl, and Tony Robbins, they are kind of my trio of people that help me out.
Well, thank you.
And then Andrew is starting it, and
we're already up on an hour, and I want to thank you for being a guest on my show.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me, and hope somebody can take something from it and be valuable. Thank you.
I hope this video has inspired you. If you need help buying your first $1 million business, make sure to visit me at dealflowsystem.net. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe down below. Comment on it, share it, tell everyone about it. And thanks for watching.